I think I'll probably try it, but I do that. I was not
I can probably parcel this out. I'm not sure what God's smile was already. I'm trying to find a way. I saw you on a billboard. Thanks, Jim. That's
We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lynn McGraw has invocation.
Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, support as we begin this meeting. Help us to engage in meaningful discussions, us to grow closer as a group and nurture the bonds of community. Excuse me. May your presence be with us as we work together for the common good. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Let's stay standing for the Rotary four-way test of the things we think, say, and do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thanks. You may be seated. I thought it would be appropriate today to have a short moment of silence. If everyone would join me. Our community experienced a tragedy on Friday, and many people knew and worked closely with Shelley, Lieb, and Brian. We always call them Spoon. So let's just take a moment to observe in their memory. Thank you so much. I wanted to thank everybody who was here last week. We passed the hat for Sabrina Lippens and her family. They experienced a house fire. Christy, thank you for helping get that donation from the club to Sabrina. Keep us posted if there's anything specific that the club can do for her to help out and show our support, something that we're good about doing, so I appreciate that. There are a couple announcements today. I know Dave Sivright wanted to come up, please.
Well, I met last week with the board and they picked the Addams Family as the show that we'll see on the showboat this summer. And Carrie gave you that date, save the date, June 13th. And I have secured the Revivalist Brewery. That date is open, so we have a reservation there. And Matt Brook is going to give us a bus, so we'll repeat what we did last year. So June 13th will be our showboat outing.
Thank you. Awesome. We're going to have a busy June. We also want you to save the date for Thursday, June 26th. That will be our night out at the Lumber Kings, and then we'll do the gavel passing that evening, starting Andy Green's here as club president. So that will be awesome. Doug Bertrand?
Again, it's time for fellowship and programs, and I failed to thank everyone last year. For anyone that's done this over the years, we appreciate it. It's a month-to-month thing. There's a lot of work, but so the Andy's year, we would have July through June of 25 and 26. If you'd like to help with programs or fellowship, we could really use the help. And the list is filling up fast, so I'll just wait out here for everybody as they come. So thank you.
Were there any other announcements today? Okay, we have a new member badge for Matt Castleman. Matt, if you want to come up, since you just took a bite of food, that's the perfect timing for you to come up and give us a little bit of information about yourself. I want to thank Matt for his membership. It is the Walmart corporate membership, so he's been really good about getting staff here, so I just want to give him kudos on that. And they also jumped right in and volunteered at the Food Security Summit in March, so if you want to go ahead and give your spiel.
Hey, good afternoon. My name is Matt Castleman. I'm 37 years old. I have a 6-year-old daughter. Really busy with her getting into school. So that's more about my personal life. I've been with Walmart for 13 years. I ran a couple of districts up in Minnesota, Eastern Iowa, and then I decided to get into the store level. And so brand new running a store. You guys are lucky enough that that's me now, so you got to deal with me here. But I'm excited to get the business involved here in the community and join the Rotary Club and get involved. So that's just, I'm here with a lot of resources, want to help, volunteer. So anything you need, let me know. So excited to meet everybody.
It's official. We do have a volunteer opportunity coming up. The Downtown Clinton Alliance is organizing some downtown cleanups. They've left the framework pretty broad. So from Earth Day tomorrow, all through May, they're looking for volunteer groups. So if there's a Rotarian who wants to spearhead a club initiative, that would be great. And then I guess we can reach out to Walmart and have them help us too. So if you're interested in helping the club organize a group, then we can select the day and time and kind of, choose when we want to go do it, and we'll coordinate with Downtown Clinton. All right, with that, we will have Mary Beth come up for fellowship.
We've got lots of birthdays in April. It might be good. I've been with this club for a couple of years now, and I still don't know everybody. So when I call your name, maybe you could raise your hand or stand, and then we can all make sure that everybody knows who you are. The first is Levi Jones, April 2nd. Sue Watkins, April 4th. Lindsay Morehart, April 7th. Not here today. Ryan Veenstra, April 9th. David Pillars, April 12th. And Joe Brown, April 23rd. That's just coming up. And then for anniversaries, we've got a million. So a lot of people have April as their anniversary date. So Christy Atkins, 8 years. Yep. Dennis Lauber. I'm sorry if I say these wrong. Paul Homer, 20 years, way in the back. Ryan Veenstra again, wasn't here. Alicia Cahoy, 1 year, just last year. There you are. Ray Jimenez, 1 year. There he is. Graham Timian, 2 years. Rich Klon, 14 years. Norlin Hinkie, 21 years. Norlin's. Mike Kramer, 12 years. Lynn McGraw, 17 years. Jennifer Graff, 17 years.
And Lindsay Moorhart, 1 year. Is Lindsay here today? No? Did you want me to do guests too? Okay. So we have Sue Watkins has a guest.
Introduce when they speak.
Okay. And Carrie Donnelly.
Please help me welcome Carlos, my husband. He is the product manager for Auger for Diamond Drives in Clinton.
As I was sitting around yesterday afternoon, thinking about what might be interesting to do today for our trivia, I listened to the wind howling around my old house, and I thought, well, maybe a weather thing might be fun. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Where shall we? Let's start at the front this time. How far away from a thunderstorm can you be and still be struck by lightning? 1 mile, 500 yards, 10 yards, 12 miles.
Was that a mile?
You're wrong. It's actually 12 miles.
I feel like we're always 12 miles away.
Okay, sorry, Andy.
Always.
Lynn, shall we go, and Mary will go to your table. What country has the greatest number of tornadoes? Brazil, Mexico, the United States, or Canada? United States is right. Yep. Next, this one I thought was kind of interesting. What is not an indicator of a developing tornado? Dark greenish sky, a dust whirl on the ground, large hail, or absence of birds and insects. No, actually, that is not. I always thought this was the thing. If the birds stop and the insects stop making noise, I thought that meant that a storm was coming, but that actually is not true. Can we go to the very back? What time of day do most tornadoes form? 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., 4 p.m. to 9 p.m., midnight to 6 a.m., or 8 a.m. to noon.
Or to whatever.
4 to 9 is correct, yeah. Okay, next we have a true and false question. More men die of lightning strikes than women. True. Yeah, that's very true. And that what they said, what the question said was that it's just that men are more likely to be outside. So that you don't have to, it's not a big mystery. Okay, and the last, we know now that what country has the greatest number of tornadoes? The United States. How many, to the nearest 100, how many tornadoes strike the U.S. every year?
Oh, it's that.
20,812.
No, I thought this was a big number. No, the number that was in the question is 800.
Oh. That's what you meant.
That's still a large number, yeah.
Eight hundred tornadoes still does sound like a lot of tornadoes. All right, thank you so much for that, Mary Beth, that was fun. Sue Watkins is going to introduce our program today.
Well, I feel this is another interesting topic that we have going on here in Clinton. Our Bicklehop Arboretum and the renovations that are going on up there has been exciting. I know sitting and listening to Ann the last couple of years, getting this going. She's done a lot of hard work with it, and we're gonna let these guys visit with us, Dr. Brian Kelly and Ann Eisenman from Clinton Community College.
He's right here. Perfect.
We have our technology.
We have our technology.
All right.
In my classes.
I think one of the last times we spoke to this group, I was talking about 69% of all jobs in this community requiring some sort of post-secondary education. And what were we going to do about that? And in the past several years, we've put up 2 career academies in Clinton and DeWitt. And next year, we will have over 250 students from area high schools participating in those centers. 1,000 new trained community members to go into the workforce in the next 4 years. That's a pretty good accomplishment for a community, right? A significant one. Our next project that we'll talk about today is about ensuring a legacy. And I take this very seriously. I was able to, I never met the Bicklehops, but I was able to meet and get to know Francie while she was still with us. And she was here for a few years when I started here. And she was one of the first people I met in Clinton. And she had come to give me the book she had written of her family. And I reached back to my bookshelf and I said, I already have this. When I was flying out to interview for this position, I had bought this book on Amazon, and it's the book I read on my way out here. And after that moment, we were friends. So that worked out pretty well for both of us. And a wonderful person with a wonderful vision, but she was able to tell me things about her parents that I wouldn't have known. And for me, it became really important that we, as Eastern Iowa Community Colleges, the Paul B. Scherer Foundation, building on the legacy of the Bicklehop family, that we were able to preserve this some way. This became even more apparent when the Paul B. Scherer Foundation board said, the amount of money we received from the Bicklehops that we were using to keep the Bicklehop Arboretum afloat was a finite pile of dollars, right? And we needed to figure out a way to keep this a community gem for the foreseeable future. So at that point, we embarked on an idea to make the Bicklehop Arboretum a place where we could celebrate nature, learn, and celebrate art. Things that were all important to Francie and things that were all important to the Bicklehop family. And at that point, we started the campaign, and I'll let Ann talk a little bit more about that. But the vision was to transform the existing building into an event center where we could have weddings and parties and receptions and have some meeting groups. So Shive Hattery, a number of years ago, helped us with a concept drawing and some concept maps. We were able to take those out to start a campaign, and $5 million later, we started construction a few months ago, and that building should be done by November of this year. So a really exciting project, a place to talk about education, a place to talk about trees and plants, a place to really celebrate art, and we're thrilled. We want to share some of the details with you today about that project and be available to answer any questions you might have.
So first of all, I'll start out by saying thank you, because the community has just embraced this project. And I've had people ask me many times over the last years, why am I so engaged in this? Because I really get emotional about it, and I'm very enthusiastic about it. And I can't imagine first of all, I can't imagine my parents having a 15-acre homestead that they welcomed the community to visit 365 days of the year from dawn till dusk. If those of you that know Chuck Duax, he lives near my house, and sometimes I'll look out my window in the morning and I'll see Marley, his dog, run by, and then I'll see Chuck run by, and then I'll see Marley run back this way, and then I see Chuck run back this way. And I can't imagine seeing people in my yard every day. Seeing people in my yard every day having weddings and taking prom pictures or homecoming pictures, or running around with their kids or listening to birds, all the things that people do in the Bickelhaft Arboretum every day. And what a gift since 1970 that they've given us to be able to enjoy those 15 acres of land. So when I think about that gift for our community, it just really fills me up with the desire to preserve that legacy and to see what we can do with that, and so that can be this incredible facility that it has always been. As Brian said, they gave us the gift, and our goal is to be financially self-sufficient with this gift. And so we will host events, and we'll have educational programming. We'll do all of this at the Arboretum, and it will be a financially self-sufficient institution. So it's really exciting about that. So, okay, here we go. Let's see, the Bickelhaft Arboretum. As you know, that's what it looks like. So here was our challenge, as Brian said. We had a facility that is about, what, 9,000 square feet. And we've been given a generous donation to fund the Arboretum, but it costs a lot of money. We love the Arboretum and we love the trees, but trees don't pay for themselves. And so we needed to find a way to fund the trees and the maintenance of the Arboretum. Just a little tidbit, it costs about $200,000 a year to run our Arboretum. And so, so that's our challenge as far as being financially sustainable, is we've got to raise about $200,000 a year. And so we have a plan to do that, which is very exciting, but we also have some plans to show you today. This is, I'm going to point out some stuff, Brian.
Yeah.
So there's some revisions. This is our design, the new design for the Arboretum. So what you're going to see is a parking lot is going to change a little bit. And then you can see a deck on the back. 110 people will be able to be seated on the back deck, which is really awesome. The front entrance is going to be a little bit different. But for the most part, the collections there, the conifers are to the north of the building, and the other places are pretty similar. We've got a really neat project happening with our parking lot walkway, and there's a bioretention cell area next to the parking lot. And we just met today with our Iowa Department of Agriculture and Land Stewardship folks, and we got a grant for permeable pavers there. So like the permeable pavers out here, we'll have that same type of situation, our parking lot and our walkways. This is the front of the building. There's a driveway right now and a garage, and all of that will change. We'll have glass fronts, and you'll be able to enter right there. There are 3 levels to the Arboretum. There's a low level, what we call the pool level, and then the upper level where the family rooms where they lived. All of those levels will be fully accessible. So if you have a wheelchair or walker, you'll be able to get into all the levels. Accessibility is key to what we're doing. Also, educational opportunities are key to what we're doing. Okay, so you have flyers on your table that show our groundbreaking, which is going to happen on May 1st, May Day. We thought that was appropriate. And on the back of those flyers, the larger flyer, like Lynn has there, on the back of that, it shows a floor plan. So you can see that as well as, yeah, there's some around. Anyway, this is to design what we've got for the inside of the building. So if you're going to come into the entrance there on the lower level, which is the education, the Francie B. Hill Education Center level, then you're going to come in there in the entrance. We'll have an educational place right there. But we've also got some curvy space. And that curvy space is our animal exhibit. We've got about 70 taxidermy pieces there. A bear, coyote, snowy owl, all kinds of great pieces. And so we're working with McCullough Creative out of Dubuque, and we're going to have an exhibit there, an animal exhibit that's going to be just beautiful. So we'll showcase those. Again, part of the education piece of all of this. We've got our education center then behind that. And then there's going to be some steps that will go up. And the pool area is what people are really excited about. That's an event center area, and we'll be able to see close to 100 people there in that area. And so what's really unique about this area is that there was a swimming pool, and we have lots of stories from Francie and her kids about that swimming pool. And someday when we have more time, we can talk about some of those stories. The kids have great stories about being 12 years old and serving cocktails to their grandparents who were swimming in the pool. But what we're doing with the pool, it was about 12 feet deep in the deep end, and then we're shallowing that in the shallow end. And what we've done is to fill most of that in with concrete, and now there's a 3-foot cavity right now in that pool area. And we've been working with an artist. We went through a whole process to review artists and take proposals. And so now we have selected an artist, and the artist will do an art installation in that 3-foot cavity that's just an open air cavity right now. Then what we're going to have on top of that is a steel structure that will be a grid structure. And then we've got a 3-inch thick glass floor that will be on top of that. So we'll have this lit art installation as the floor of that pool shape there. It's going to be really awesome. And then of course we've got step or window doors going up to the deck. And then we've got steps that go down and you can go out to the Arboretum. And then over there to the side where the ramp is, again, ramp space over there. We're adding on a catering kitchen as well as bathrooms to the north side of the house. And then upstairs, we'll remodel the rooms upstairs as well. So lots of work being done. It's about a $5 million renovation. And we've had great support from the community for all of this. And so, and I'll just share with you, a lot of people ask about how much does it cost to renovate a house like that? Well, I don't know how many $5 million houses are in Clinton, but we started out thinking, when we heard from Shive Hattery originally, they estimated $4 million. And then we moved the goalpost each time we revisited it because we knew costs were going up. And then earlier this year, I had nightmares when I kept hearing the word tariff, because we're putting in a steel floor that costs about $400,000. And so, so when I heard steel tariff, I thought, oh, yikes. But fortunately, we've got a great construction team, and we've been able to lock in prices for some of that work. So that's been really good. But yeah, about a $5 million renovation to this facility. And it'll just be really incredible. As Brian said, our date of completion should be the end of November. And so we're starting in December we'll book events, and we'll have some opportunities for education as well as events at the Arboretum and starting moving forward. So it's very exciting. What did I miss?
Which slides it down?
Oh, let me keep going here. Oh, there we go. There's what the lower level will look like as far as the education area as well as the animal exhibit. And then let's see. Oh, there you can see a glass floor. We don't show an art installation there right now because we did not know what we were going to have as that art installation. And I think tomorrow we're going to announce that, aren't we?
It goes to the board this evening.
So we really can't say anything yet till tomorrow. But it's really beautiful. It'll be really exciting. And then this again, from the flyers and the pictures you have, this shows the beautiful, beautiful deck, composite deck. It's incredible. One time I was meeting with the board of trustees, the Eastern Iowa Board of Trustees, and they said, you know, as you've been working on this project, what what is on your wish list that you haven't been able to accomplish with this? And I had to stop for a second and realize that there's nothing within what we've designed or with our goals with this that we've had to cut back on. The community has come forward. Businesses, organizations, individuals have come forward and been able to fund all of this. And so this is truly a community project. Let's see what we have here. Oh, I forgot to tell you about the Dambo Troll. Okay, so the Sawmill Museum up in the north end of town with Ari Lorenz as our lead. She reached out to Thomas Dambo, who is a Danish artist. And there are 160 trolls around the world that are built out of recycled materials. He was an artist that took recycled materials from recycled projects and created these trolls. And so Ari was persistent. She reached out to Thomas Dambo. He was here the first week of February, and there's going to be a troll at the Sawmill Museum as well as at the Bickelhaupt Arboretum. So we're very excited about that. This is not the troll that will be at the Arboretum. Our troll hasn't been designed yet, and so we'll find out later this year what our troll will look like. And then everyone will have an opportunity. Your volunteer opportunities expand. In April of next year, we'll be building trolls around the Clinton area. But this is just one example of a Dambo troll. So on behalf of Bob and Frances Bickelhaupt, the Bickelhaupt family, it's just been a labor of love. Their gift to the community is just really an incredible gift. And we're so excited to be able to, like Brian said, to honor this legacy and to be able to do this for the community that the Bickelhaupts love so much. We will have at our groundbreaking May 1st, which you're all invited to, both Sean and Jay, two of Francie's children, will be here for that event. And so I hope you guys can come out and participate. I hope the weather's nice. Pray for good weather. But we have a garage. We can go inside if we need to that day. But we'll be celebrating with a groundbreaking, and at 10:15 we'll have a program that morning, and then some treats, and then we'll celebrate. What question? Oh, Mary.
If you have, like, say, a wedding reception or a anniversary party or whatever, what's your maximum capacity?
So inside will be close to about 100, and we can put 100 more out on the deck. Yeah.
You probably haven't thought about this. There will obviously be a charge for granted. I would hope.
Yes, there will be.
Do you have any idea what that's going to be comparable to other places?
Do you want to talk about that now?
Yeah, we will be we'll be looking at that. There'll be different weekday and weekend rates. So that's something we haven't completely decided on. But in the prospectus to get to that 200,000, we've had some talks about what that will have to be with booking those 50 out of the 52 weekends and be able to really generate that revenue. We need to be self-sustaining.
Yeah, I know the Eagle Point doesn't do. Or they just do wine and beer. You'll be able to have mixed drink. Not that I drink mixed drinks, but you would be able to have mixed drinks and those kinds of things. Some of them.
So we will do that through caterers, and this won't be something. So we won't be the food service provider there. So we'll have folks work directly with the caterers for that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, number of parking spaces.
That's yours.
So we're really close to about 70 spots, which almost doubles what we have there with the new redesign of that parking lot. Permeable pavers. There's a little area and the water washes out that existing parking lot. So the permeable pavers, the bioswale, increased parking, better drainage. It should be nice.
Will it be ready for the on May 1st?
That's a groundbreaking.
Okay, so there won't be parking that day.
Absolutely not.
It's gonna be real tricky.
Well, there's parking there, the parking lot's there now.
Yeah.
You can park in the parking lot now, but it won't have been expanded, but I encourage people to come early and park on the side streets.
Will the Arboretum stay open during construction?
Yeah, we've had various iterations of this. Also, we're working very closely with the city to do some stream bank restoration, which will keep soils out of the creeks in Clinton and thereby keep that out of the Mississippi River because there's that silt problem, right? We know that we had a great speaker here a few months ago, remember, talking about the amount of silt in the Mississippi River and how if it gets too high, the barges can't go down or the size of the barges, the weight the barges can carry. So our part of contributing to that is working with the city for some stream bank renovation. At times, part of that will be fenced off. Right now, within the last week, the perimeter around the house has been fenced off too. The conifer collection to the right of the house will be open continuously, and most of the arboretum that's backed by 8th Street will be open continuously as well.
Yeah, and for prom, we got prom coming up for people that, you just have to find a place that you wanna, I would suggest parking over on the cul-de-sac on the opposite side. But there's plenty of places that are blooming, they're beautiful out there. The crabapple trees will be blooming, daffodils are blooming, so there's some really beautiful places. I also wanted to share, so many of you knew Francie and we're friends with Francie, and so we're starting to fill a calendar full of activities as we open up. And we've had some tours, some bus tours of historical sites in our community, and we have one tomorrow actually that's going to go on, I think, the historical business. And but on February 10th is going to be another bus tour, and that's the first day that we'll have lots of events in December, January, February, but it's the first day that's actually on the calendar for us to have an event. And we'll start out the bus tour that day at the Arboretum, and then we'll have the program at the Arboretum, and then go on the bus tour, and then have lunch afterwards in the Arboretum in the event center. But what's neat about that is that bus tour is going to be a historical site about the Underground Railroad in the community. And Francie really loved working on behalf of people that were less fortunate, and she worked with immigrants, and she was really appreciated diversity. And so I think that the fact that this first program that's actually on the calendar for us is about the Underground Railroad, I think that Francie would just be thrilled with that. And so we're just really excited about starting that calendar and filling it up.
It's part of those activities, as a pastor, I've married a few people there at Bickelhop, but they would allow weddings there then?
Sure.
Okay.
We'll have a director, and the director,
We'll have a
we'll have a director that will work with people that want to host events.
Okay, got it.
I was gonna ask the same thing, and I just officiated at a wedding at the Lilac Garden.
Right.
But I think the restrooms in the house were available for the wedding party.
Yeah, as
It
we.
was outdoors.
Sure,
Yeah,
Is that-
sure.
Is that enough?
And having the opportunity with an area for people to gather and a deck and things, we'll have instructions for all of that when we
What
work
about
with
this
people.
summer?
Oh, this summer? Well, I think the parking lot will be all closed, will be probably fenced off, so.
Yeah, there'll be a period of time where those restrooms won't be available.
Yeah.
But hopefully 8 to 10 weeks.
And we're kind of with the stream bank renovation and with the parking lot, it's really up to the construction people when that works and what the timeline of all of that is. So, what other questions do you have? We've got some members of the Sheriff Foundation board here. Lynn's a member, Sue's a member, Braden's a member, Gary. Let's see. And of course, all of this happened under the leadership of Karen Vickers. And so we appreciate that Karen said yes when the Bickelhop family came to Clinton Community College and offered the Arboretum. So that's key too.
And just another thing, a lot of people might not know, but Bob Bickelhop was a Rotarian for,
Yes.
I remember taking an award to him, and he was probably 40 or 50
Wow.
Rotarian.
Wow. Yeah. you know, when the Bicklehops decided to start the Arboretum, they really gave up so many of their activities. They golfed and did things like that. Like they played bridge and things, and they gave up so many activities in order to start the Arboretum. And I always think to myself, how would you start an Arboretum? And I mean, they gathered world-class plants, and they gathered a great board of directors, and they put this together. And how lucky we are that that happened here in Clinton, Iowa. So we're really fortunate.
Thank you. Oh,
Oh,
Gary?
Gary.
I think Ann Eisenman is being very humble in her role in this. Those of you that, if you have an understanding, she's really been the point person in terms of the fundraising campaign and pushing this forward. So as a member of the Shar Foundation, I want to acknowledge Ann's exemplary efforts.
And I'm going to say it again. It took a vision, and it took people saying yes. And, you know, you just don't raise $5 million overnight. It takes a community to do that. So I want to say thanks to everybody who's participated. Thank you very much. All right.
That was awesome. Thank you guys so much. My grandpa was on the board of directors at the Bicklehoff Arboretum. So that's how I got my copy of the book from Francie, which I also love because she just was such a proponent of this. But the story I wanted to share was about another former Rotarian and former director of the Arboretum, Margot Hansen, who's a friend of many of ours. When I started as CVB director, you know, I was maybe a couple months into the job, and she called me and said, Carrie, there's a typo. And I believe it was in the Clinton Herald, but you always say the Arboretum is open from dawn to dusk, but I said it was open from dusk to dawn. That it's not a dusk to dawn. It's weird, yeah. No matter what, I always now double check. It was a forgivable offense, luckily. Anyway, thank you guys so much for such a wonderful program, and thanks everyone for being here today. Lynn, thank you for invocation, and Mary Beth, thank you for fellowship. Everybody knows that our tradition in the club is to donate a book on behalf of our speaker to the Clinton Public Library. And today's book that we'll have Brian and Ann sign is called Green Promises. So the library staff has been doing an awesome job of pairing our titles. So good job to Susie and her group. With that, enjoy your week and experience the magic of Rotary.